We did it. We won. We actually won. The OGL and SRD are now in Creative Commons, and we can create again without worrying about the corpos coming for us. Is it too late? Should we still quit D&D? I don't think we should. And in fact, I'm going to give 5 reasons to consider not quitting D&D. Be sure to stick around at the end, because I'll give 3 things I think we should do as a tabletop role-playing community going forward. The first reason you should consider not quitting Dungeons & Dragons is the investments that you've made into it. You've already invested your time, your money, and your passion into it. How many hours have you spent learning the rules, creating characters and worlds to play with, spending time with friends? How many miniatures and books and memorabilia do you own? And the passion, how much of yourself have you put into it? I think that Dungeons & Dragons was for us for a very long time very special. We learned a lot about ourselves and each other with it. Personally, I've invested a lot into this system. I've got many books and terrain. I've spent many hours honing my skills as a Dungeons & Dragons GM, as well as spending a lot of time with players. I've also gotten a lot back from this system. A lot of what I do and have, I can transfer to other systems, and of course that's the case with you and what you've got as well. However, I think there are some other points that I want to make, so let's move on to the next one. The second reason why I think you shouldn't quit D&D is the nostalgia, the history that we have with the system. For a lot of us, Dungeons & Dragons was our first TTRPG or our introduction. It was where we made our friends, where we learned how to play, and I don't think that should be discounted at all. I think that Dungeons & Dragons has done a lot for the community, and I think we should continue to steward it. I know personally, Dungeons & Dragons has helped me find some of my most treasured friends and cherished memories. Together we explored worlds, created characters, and told stories. Has it done the same for you? The third reason to consider not quitting Dungeons & Dragons is to support your third-party publishers and content creators. Third-party publishers and content creators have already built businesses around Dungeons & Dragons. Even if we were to move to other systems, and a great many are, it's going to take time for us to transition to other systems and to create things for those systems. Supporting those third-party publishers and content creators as we do that is a very noble thing that you can do. The reason why we fought so hard for the OGL and SRD was so that we could continue to create things without worrying about the corporations coming for us. It's now important for us to enjoy what we have gotten from the efforts that we put in. One thing you could consider is that third-party publishers and content creators have already got projects coming through the pipeline. They've already invested time and effort and resources into creating these things for you. They still want you to play Dungeons & Dragons, even if they are transitioning to other systems. Personally, I've created several packs on our Patreon for people's D&D games, and I want them to continue to be used. Even if I was to transfer them to other systems, that's going to take time and resources for me to be able to do so. So not quitting Dungeons & Dragons is actually supporting those third-party publishers and content creators so that they have the time to diversify their portfolio and to make the transitions to other systems or even build their own. You're actually helping the entire tabletop role-playing space by not quitting. The fourth reason to consider not quitting Dungeons & Dragons is that Dungeons & Dragons is the most well-known and accessible tabletop role-playing game in the industry. By losing Dungeons & Dragons, there is a good chance that we might lose on bringing new people into the system, as it's the most discoverable. Dungeons & Dragons brings a whole new host of people to be introduced to other TTRPGs. Dungeons & Dragons may have even been your first tabletop role-playing game. On top of all that, accessibility. Dungeons & Dragons has the most tools that have been developed to help everyone play at the table that need those tools. I think that we should continue to develop our own accessibility tools, but Dungeons & Dragons is the perfect place to have anyone that needs those tools come and play at the table. The fifth and final reason you should consider not quitting Dungeons & Dragons is that we did it. Dungeons & Dragons is not one D&D, it's our D&D. Together we managed to protect the OGL and the SRD and even get it into the Creative Commons. Congratulations. Now we can usher in a brand new era of D&D, creating and developing Dungeons & Dragons. We should continue the legacy that we have created with Open D&D. If it wasn't for the community and their shared virtues and ideals and people like you at home, we wouldn't be where we are now. And now that we've managed to achieve this, we need to support what we were fighting so hard for. New people are going to join in and want to play tabletop role-playing games, probably through the discovery of Dungeons and Dragons. If we quit, we won't be here for when that happens. And there you have it. 5 reasons you should consider not quitting Dungeons and Dragons. Now, early in the video, I said that I was going to give 3 things I think that we should continue to do when it comes to tabletop role-playing games going forward. Let's jump into it. Firstly, I think we should continue to be curious about other systems. More than ever, people are looking at other systems like Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade, all the OSR stuff. That curiosity was sparked with everything that happened, and that is so exciting for the tabletop role-playing space. That's why I said it's important for us to continue playing Dungeons and Dragons, because people are going to come into the TTRPG space, and from there, we can introduce them to other systems. Secondly, we don't need to support Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. It's a privilege and a right that we have as consumers. We can continue to play Dungeons and Dragons without supporting them. However, I think that we should also be mindful of allowing other people to support Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro if they choose to. I think that's important for us to remember our virtues and our ideals going forward and what we want for the tabletop role-playing space. More than ever, it's important to remain kind. We want to continue to share tabletop role-playing games and to invite others to come play with us. By remembering our virtues and ideals, we can continue to foster and care for something that we're very, very passionate about. Finally, I think that we should not forget the love that we had for Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that we should continue to support and create in Dungeons and Dragons. However, I do think that we should continue to call it open D&D and to continue to share that open D&D. One D&D is eventually coming down the line, but for now we can continue to create and share with something that we already loved, we protected. And on top of that, there are people out there that want to continue to bring you awesome things, whether they are third-party or content creators. Continue to support them. Don't forget the love that you had for the system. This video has been brought to you by Woot & Forge. Woot & Forge is an amazing gaming company here in Australia that take down under timber and turn it into amazing heirloom quality gaming accessories for your tabletop needs. You should check them out by using the link below and the promo code LETUSBEGIN to get 10% off your total order. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and found something interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and let us know in the comments below. If you think someone else would enjoy this video, by all means share it. We're trying to grow here at Dreaded GM and we're striving to make our videos better with every single one that we post. But with that all said, thank you so much. Go with love and luck, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye. There's a dog barking. Forward as a community for tabletop role-playing games. And a bird chirping. We can now. And a person talking. And why you shouldn't quit Dungeons and Dragons. Oh shit! Oh fuck! That was pretty good except for that.